Please be advised that the video you are viewing was recorded during the COVID-19 pandemic and all safety measures were followed. Also note that the views expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect the views of Black Female Project.
Black Female Project.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Black Female Project podcast. One of the gifts of Black Female Project is the intergenerational intersection of the women we engage with. And what I mean by that is we take in the expansiveness of Black womanhood. In this episode, we interview Tanya Holland, chef and founder of Brown Sugar Kitchen in Oakland, California. Tanya speaks about some really critical things related to being the only Black woman or one of the very few Black women in an industry. Her episode reminds me of a quote from Dr. Kamara Jones. "I don't change my work. I change where I work." Enjoy this episode.
You know, it'll be decades before someone else can get here if we don't invest in Tanya Holland, because I'm going to continue to create opportunities for others. That's my MO. It's not really about me. It's about what the next, it's about the legacy I hope to create. Oh gosh, what defines me? I try not to be completely defined. I'm a chef by training, but I also am a linguist. I studied Russian language and literature in college. I love traveling around the world, so I guess I'm a globetrotter. I love learning through other cultures. Hospitality is really one of my passions. My parents entertained. They had a gourmet cooking club that they participated in, and monthly they met at other couples' homes, and then they hosted. They also were very involved in the church and their community. And hospitality, I learned that from them. When a guest is in your home, is in your space, you make them feel comfortable. You provide them with an experience that they might not otherwise have. And when I discovered that there was an entire industry devoted to this, it just really resonated with me. And it was just natural for me to go into this field because I was good at it, because I had, unbeknownst to me, been trained in doing this kind of work. But there's a lot to learn, obviously, when it's a business. To thrive professionally, to me, means to constantly have new opportunities that you are aspiring to be seen as an expert in your field, to be acknowledged by your peers, to grow and learn, and to just kind of, continuously perfect the skill set that you have. I thought about this recently, about what skill has served me the best. And it was very evident when I was on Top Chef. And, this is good old parental training of having manners. I think the fact that I have good manners has really served me well. I'm very respectful of people and their spaces. Yeah, politeness. I just value it so much when somebody pushes in their chair, when they get up from a table. I notice these things, Do you offer someone water? I have been in restaurants with colleagues and I've been sitting there, and it's I'm like, where are their manners? Where's their hospitality? It just really, to me, that's just 101 human life skills that people should have, respect for other people and a desire to make people comfortable, make each other comfortable. the more intelligent I presented and the more knowledgeable I became, the more threatening I became to coworkers. And that was really disconcerting and disappointing, that my intelligence as a Black woman was not encouraged or was threatening to people I worked with. I mean, I have blatant examples of, I remember being in this kitchen and, letting these guys were like, "Oh, did you go to college? Where did you go to college?" I mean, they knew I did, that I was educated. And I mentioned University of Virginia, and they were just like, you know, that I went to France for school, and they're like, "How'd you go there?" Like, like I went there. I made it happen. I applied and I was accepted, you know. And I would doubt myself during those moments, but what I've learned is that I am very intelligent. I do know a lot of things, and I also have a strong intuition that I didn't always trust and follow. And I have determined that when I follow my intuition, that's when everything great happens. When I trust it, that's when all the opportunities, come together. It's like a little irritant, It's just like, are- am I like, why should I dumb myself down? Or why is there such low expectations of me and my performance and my ability? And, it's just, it's almost like a constant insult. And, I've just been constantly looking for environments where that's not the case. And that's why I created my own environment. But then, people would come into my environment working for me and still have those same biases. And even though, it's like, well, this is my business. I created it. Like, why are you questioning, whether or not it's my creation and, it's my intelligence that created this. And it just, now I have more of the vocabulary and understanding for what it is. It's just this, construct of white supremacy and the systemic racism that this country was built on. And everybody has it. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people, and I'm just constantly, trying to dispel that. Feel like, I guess that's my role here in this world. But it's a lot, it's a lot more than my non-Black female counterparts have to deal with. They get to just do the work they want to do, or they have in the past, But I think there's a reckoning coming for sure. For years, I would see, especially these white male chefs get, mentored and brought along and brought up in restaurants, and they didn't have the same credentials I had. They didn't have the same experience I had. They didn't have intelligence or social skills and manners, but yet, they were offered opportunities. And then, once I became a chef and even a known entity on the Food Network, I still was not able to attract the investment dollars, again, the knowledge that I sought. And I would go to other experts in the field, be like, can you, share this information with me? That's how I was raised, to ask questions, to always surround yourself by people who are smarter than you and always be learning. And, but I found that people withheld information and knowledge from me. And, I just had to look at that as like, I guess they're threatened they can see that, they don't want me to shine them. And again, that was just really disappointing, heartbreaking, especially as a younger person. You just don't know where to put that. And you can see that the only difference is your skin color. That's the only difference between you and that person. And actually, you have more potential and more drive and more ability, and you can't get there. I've told people for years, I aspired when I came out of cooking school to be a 3-4 star chef. I wanted to do fine dining, but I couldn't get into those restaurants. I would show up for interviews, or I would apprentice, and then I wouldn't be offered a job or an opportunity. Or if I did get in, I wouldn't be offered a promotion. And so I didn't have the opportunity to be the artist that I aspired to be. I had to just, plug along and just try to get paid in my profession, and to, create my own opportunities. But I wasn't able to, focus on the artistry of cooking. I had to navigate all these politics instead. And that was exhausting, still exhausting. It disappoints me constantly when, I'm asked to, perform as a chef. And it's like, yeah, this is not really where I wanted to land. But then, I also realized and, was not really advised, but informed at one point in my career that you actually make more money as a chef cooking more accessible food. So I decided, like, oh, okay, well, that's where I'm going to land. I'm going to cook, this one restaurateur said, cook for the masses and eat with the classes, and I was like, huh, I like that adage, because I want to live comfortably, but also I aspired because I knew that money equals power. And I wanted that power so that I could continue to create opportunities for myself, but then also do it for others, because I wasn't mentored, and I knew that, like, I wanted to mentor. I need to create a space for us, for Black women, to excel, because I wasn't provided that space. And then people started reacting to my food that I was creating that was accessible, and the media liked it. And I was like, oh, I guess I hit the spot. So, I decided, okay, I'm okay here. I appreciate the artistry of cooking and food so much. And I dine out at, high-end restaurants, and I see what the chefs have created. And, I realized that they had all the tools. They had the privilege. They had the access. Most of them, most of them are white men. Some of them are white women. In the past decade, there are some more people of color that are, able to do that. And, you can argue that you can be an artist no matter what your resources are, but not really. For example, I know a chef friend of mine who, he doesn't have a lot of means and resources. He didn't come from anything, but he has a supportive partner, who again provides him that space. He's a white man, and a white woman is doing everything else around him so that he can focus on his artistry. As a Black woman, there's no one's like gonna support me in that way, so that I can focus on my artistry, because they're gonna have different expectations of, of me to do other things, to constantly jump through hoops, to constantly prove myself, to constantly, wear 1,000 hats and perform miracles, and to be nurturing and loving at the same time. I'm very business minded, and I make really smart choices with business. I create a good space. I have diversity and inclusion. That's been like my, I've been talking about it for decades. That's like, since I was little, like I didn't understand why people segregated. My first job was in corporate America. I worked at Eastman Kodak Research Labs one summer. And I went to the cafeteria, and I was like, why are the Black people sitting over there and the white people, and I grew up in suburban America that was very, it wasn't diverse, but my parents created a diverse environment for me. But I say this to say that, like, I have 30 plus years in this industry. I'm an expert in my field. The James Beard Foundation has appointed me on their board of trustees, and now I'm chair of the awards as of January 1st, 2021. I know a thing or two, and not only that, and this is a gift that was given to me last fall. Ta-Nehisi Coates came in here with his dad, who was a former Black Panther, and he walked in and he's like, we travel all over the country and we never see any of us owning a place that looks like this. We are relegated to the joint down the dark street in the hood, like I was over there. People think I chose West Oakland. I landed there because I was marginalized. I was not given an opportunity. I tried to lease this space 14 years ago. And finally, when I was trying to expand to San Francisco, I came to this landlord. I said, you have a lot of capital. Will you invest in me? And he said, we really regret not putting you in this space. And then when this restaurant closed, he came to me, he said, you are my first choice, anything you need. I'm tired of bootstrapping. Why are we always expected to bootstrap? I just heard that Thomas Keller got $2 million for French Laundry to, sustain his business. I could use $2 million, and I employ minorities and Black women. In that kitchen, there might be 2 or 3 out of maybe 60 people. Like, really good businesses will fail if you're undercapitalized, and that is really has been the story of my last decade. It's like undercapitalized, and I have so much social and media capital. I mean, I put Oakland on the map. I do a lot of media and a lot of promotions, not only for this city, but for this community. I have to win. If Brownshire Kitchen goes away, if a restaurant that's Black owned of this caliber goes away, then how is the next generation going to make something happen? Because I have a lot of tools. I have a lot of resources. I have a lot of experience. It's, it'll be decades before someone else can get here if we don't invest in Tanya Holland. Because I'm going to continue to create opportunities for others. That's my MO. It's not really about me. It's about what the next, it's about the legacy I hope to create. I think that's what, investments should be about. I hope Beyonce is watching. When I first launched, I didn't see anyone who looked like me, really, in this business, which didn't really stop me because I saw an opportunity. There was Leah Chase and Edna Lewis, I think maybe was still living when I was around, but they were much older. And there were a couple restaurants in New York City where I was working that were Black run. I don't know. Some of them were owned, some of them weren't. Or African American themed, soul food themed. But I never saw anyone who got the service, the food, and the environment right. It was like maybe one or the other, And I wanted to get them all right together. And, when I first started, it was like all fine dining and then ethnic joints. Now there's been like a little bit more of finding that middle thing, which I saw a lot in Europe, the bistros or the brasseries or the pubs or the trattorias, like something for the everyday person. And even when I moved to Oakland, I didn't see that.